Hey there everybody, it's Atherbeer Stand back here on the Mindternity server with episode 12 of my Forestry Playthrough. You might notice that episode 11 is missing from the list. That's because episode 11 sucked. Actually, it was a really good episode, but the audio was had a funky echo to it, and the frame rate was like 2 frames per second through most of the video. So we ended up just getting rid of that. I think what I may do is time lapse it, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we're gonna have to just do a quick relapse. You didn't miss a whole lot of action, but there was some things. I spent some time polishing up the base a little bit. I moved all these apiaries back to give us a little more room, and then I set up this second row. So these are all of our production apiaries, and then these are going to be our cloning boxes. And I've made these apiarist pipes, which you guys missed. But if you look at the recipe, apiarist pipe is just diamond pipe and some propolis, which I actually forgot that if you squeeze honey drops, or it might be just the honey dew, it's one of the two, in a squeezer, then you get propolis. So you can actually get the propolis a little bit earlier in the game than we did. But you know, that's what happens. You forget stuff. So the way that these apiarist pipes work, they're like a diamond pipe. You can see I've got this side set to princesses, so it will only allow princesses back into the apiary itself. And what that allows us to do is put a small stack of drones in there along with a princess and cycle through. It doesn't let any drones back into the box, so we avoid the problem we're having over there where our princess dies out and we just end up with 2 or 3 stacks of drones and no princess. So these boxes are for controlled cloning. I don't have fancy buildcraft technology just yet, so we're just using the redstone engines down there, but they're pretty inconspicuous and relatively painless. So that's what those are about, and they're just getting us, you can see I was cloning Industrious here. Probably purebred Industrious right there. Anyway, so that's what those are for, cloning boxes. And that's just so we can quickly clone bees without having to flip and without having our princesses die, or without overdoing it, without ending up with 100,000 clones. So these here are boxes that are just for accumulating drones. You can see I've got the different species in here. We're almost to a full stack on the robust, so that's the goal here, is just to generate a full stack or more of each species of drone, so that we have something on hand. That should be enough of the eldritch. I've got a partial stack of them already, so if we bring them over here, we can just throw her, where'd you go, in with some chocolate frames and get her to die out real quick. I am currently working on supernatural drones, and this is an attempt, common and industrial, to get our iron bees. I was breeding the wrong bees previously in the attempt at this. I was breeding industrial and resilient, which was totally wrong. That's not even a mutation, so that would have taken a super long time. Super long time. Trying to get this valiant species stabilized, and it's looking like I managed to do it. I crossed it with a rocky bee. Unfortunately, it seems that in doing so, I have gotten stuck with, oh, there we go. So it's a 2 times. It's kind of been wobbling back and forth between a 1 and a 2 times. Yeah, see, that's kind of lame. 1 time, 1 and 1. I think these guys have a 1 and 2, so we'll cross them back, just trying to reinforce the species. If I can't get it, I think I've got 1, I had 3, 1 pure valiant princess left, which we might be able to use, and then I had 1 which turned into this rocky princess here, but it had some good traits, so I think I might want to try to breed that into our rocky bees, because what happened, if you recall, where are you at, rocky bees? We got these guys, these rocky drones, and we got them up to this ×3 fertility, but what we don't have is all of the good stuff that the rocky bees are known for. Normally you get nocturnal tolerant fly or cave dwelling, all yeses, and a tolerance of plus and minus 1 on temperature and humidity. So we lost all of that. We gave it all up in order to get our ×3 fertility. And here we've got this rocky princess with long and a 2 times fertility rating and pretty good showing on some of these traits. So that gives us a pretty good chance at, if we put it in a speedy place, we'll try that. I don't know if it's going to work or not. We'll see. Even if it does work, it's probably going to be a long road. We're looking for a purebred common here. Yes, that's good. And then we're going to go purebred industrious and common. Get these guys out of here, make a little room. Trying to get this supernatural trait, but that's not actually the focus. Let's see, what did I... Oh, so we're trying to do the same thing with our trees that we were just doing with bees. So here we've got just our standard apple oak trees that we're using down in the farm, and then we've got our chestnut tree. And what we're hoping to do is get a tree with a 2x2 girth and an apple fruit that gives an apple trait rather that gives us a fruit per leaf block, and the faster maturation that the apple oak sapling has. So we'll see. That's been cooking for a while. As you can see, all these leaves are ripe, so we're probably pretty close to analyzing the results of that, which I probably will not do on camera. Unfortunately, this is my new species board here, and I've kind of obscured it, so we will knock off some of these blocks just so we can get a little bit of a view of what's going on here. I need also to put these nuts in the squeezer anyway, because I'm running out of seed oil. When we get all this automated, then seed oil won't be a problem. And it may seem like this mod pack is really slow, but you guys have to understand that I'm putting a lot of things on hold or delaying them so that I can film. You can, frankly, I mean, you can get through everything that I've done in way less time than it's taken me. Way less time. So don't be discouraged by that. If it seems like it's way too grindy for you, a lot of this can go way faster than it has. So now that we can see our new display, these are the species that I've been working on. I took Sorceress and Cultivated and got Eldritch, and then Eldritch and Cultivated got me Charmed. Yeah, that's Charmed, and then Enchanted is the second. These guys, Enchanted, is the second mutation that comes off of this. And then this guy, I don't remember who he is. What are you? Mysterious Drone. And then I think the this Supernatural is this guy up here. Pretty sure, I can't remember. And then I also took Forest and Diligent and got the blue bee, which appears to have gotten lost somewhere, the same way as the red bee did previously. I do not seem to have a blue bee anymore. And then, what was that guy? Rocky, I believe? Oh no, that's Common. Common and Diligent got us the red bee, which I have stabilized. We now have a permanent red bee. And then lastly, this was the Rocky and Diligent got us Resilient and Unweary got us to Robust. Robust plus Diligent got us to Resilient. And Resilient gets us to lots of other things later on, so that's going to be kind of a big deal. I thought I was breeding that to get the Ferris bee, but not so much. It does get us to some of the other bees, however. So that, I think, catches us up pretty well on where we were at bee-wise. Let's make a little inventory space here, and I will come and bee-wise and deal with all this stuff off camera, because it's not too interesting anymore. It only stays interesting for so long. Rocky drones can go back in here. Our Eldritch drones can go back in there. And that's probably good for now. I think I got my arborist chest here. We'll just... I don't like that it makes you flip to an empty page before you can drop stuff in. That's a little bit annoying. Now let's go down here and talk, because you haven't seen this. I got an alveary set up. We can't use it just yet because the climate down this way is a little bit bad. But this is the recipe for this scented paneling. Of course it's not showing because I'm out of seed oil here. Speaking of which, let's throw those guys in the squeezer real quick. And then what you need is 8 of those scented panelings, alveary, around an impregnated casing. And that gets you 1 block. It's a 3x3x3 multi-block structure. You can, it'll probably be easiest if I just break a couple of blocks here so you can kind of see. So that's what it looks like. 3x3x3 with half slabs on the top. You have to add those manually. I did it this way, kind of half in the ground, so that we can easily automate from below and it's not visually impairing from above. So we can kind of see over it. It's a big thing that's kind of in the way, but maybe if we put some half slabs down on the ground here, it can actually be not really in our way at all. So there's that alveary. Now the thing about the alveary, hello, it's just like your apiary. You'll notice there's no frame, no slots for frames, but it gives you, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, so don't quote me until we've had a chance to double check, but I believe it's 10 times the rate of production from an apiary. So pretty extreme, and that's without any power. I'm pretty sure with Gendustry we can increase on that, but without having to use power, 10 times production is pretty good. Now, there are a lot of things we can do with the alveary that the apiary simply didn't provide. We can use them to create all these other blocks. The mutator does exactly what it sounds like. It gives you an increased chance of mutations. Now you have to put stuff inside of it. I'm not sure what the whole list is. I think soul sand might be on the list. I know a nether star gives you 100% chance at a mutation. So if you're going after something really tricky, the mutator block is your answer. And we got the frame housing. You can put up to 6 of those in an alveary, so you can accommodate twice the number of frames as you could in an apiary, which is pretty cool. We got a rain shield and alveary lightings. We're hoping to render those obsolete just by breeding. We're going to have all of our bees that become production bees. At some point we'll have the traits necessary to where we don't need these. And I don't know what the electrical stimulator is, so I will have to look that up and get back to you. A hatchery, I think, produces the larvae. If you look up in the forestry, scroll down here, below the bees are these larvae. And it does not appear that you can get all of the species, so I'm not sure what those are even good for. That's a new thing that's been added since the last time I've done forestry. I'm trying to get this Infinity Princess and I can't remember why, but it was good for something. The Swarmer causes hives to appear nearby so you can gain extra princesses, I believe. Pretty sure that's what that does. The fan cools it off. The heater heats it up. Those need power. The Hydro Regulator I also believe needs power, and that alters your humidity depending on how you configure that. The sieve produces the pollen, those little pollen clusters that you've seen, so that you can manually cross-pollinate your trees rather, excuse me. And the stabilizer, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it probably prevents your ignoble princesses from dying off. It's the only thing I can really think of. And then the transmission, I'm going to assume, is probably the same as the farms and would allow you to attach power to the alveary. I guess. I will also double check on that one and get back to you. Hey, Tio joined. So that's the alveary in a nutshell, and unfortunately until we get a cooler hooked up in it, or a fan rather, an alveary fan and a little bit of power, we're going to have to leave it empty, because we really need more. See, the first thing you want to do is get your industrious and your imperial bees into these alvearies so that these things can be 10 times as much when you're making. See how that works? Like, that's the thing that you have to do in order to progress faster. Or of course you could just put a dozen bees in apiaries, but this I think is way easier, actually, believe it or not. So that's the progression so far. I don't know if you guys have seen these are the biogas engines. I think we talked about. Oh, they're empty. Ooh, they're empty. Oh, we got no power. I think what happened was because the farm I've been I think I was in the process of automating that farm, and it was shut off for quite some time. So I'm thinking that this ran out of fuel. This is running off of fruit juice at the moment. That one's got some biomass in it. That's fabulous. But I don't think it's got any lava. Oh, maybe. That's weird. What does this say? No fuel. Huh. Well, I'm going to actually take a second. This is kind of critical. We need some power here. Because the power is actually, it's a weird cyclical sort of thing. This power is making itself. I gotta get it jump started, so probably will have to, I don't know, run over to the peak generators and, I don't know, steal some power somehow. I'm gonna get on that and return momentarily. Alright guys, so I got that fixed. The simple thing was you can move those engines with a hand truck, so I went and grabbed the peat-fired engines from down below and just hooked them up real quick to get things fired up. The other thing that I needed in order to accomplish that is another forestry item called a pipette. It's 2 glass panes and a piece of wool, roughly in the formation that you see there. And it allows you to remove small vestiges of fluid from these tanks, which was really handy actually, because you can take just a little bit of lava out of one of these guys and put it in a different one. So really you can warm up all these engines with just a single bucket of lava and a pipette. So that's going. It shouldn't shut off now. The whole system, actually the only thing that stops it right now is this mulch, because the barrel is full. I don't have a void upgrade handy. I'll have to make one. The mulch is being produced way faster than we can consume it. Eventually we might balance that out, because we'll probably be running maybe 15 or 20 of these. And having said all that, I think the focus of today's episode, now that we've recapped and gotten things functional, is going to be to move most of this stuff below ground. I just went and made a whole bunch of conduits so that we can get that stuff done. So let's go down below. Also, before we move on with that, I overlooked a critical piece of information. I knew this too. This is long time past. Block of iron is a 100% chance mutation to get the iron, the ferrous bee. So put a block of iron, and that is the case with all of the metallic bees from Magic Bees. They all have to have a block of some metal underneath in order for them to breed. So, yeah, kind of important. Something that you need to know, and that I failed to observe. I think we've got some spare machines back here too. Let's go ahead and grab those. We don't want to hook up the thermionic fabricator, but we've got an extra centrifuge and 2 carpenters. I think we really need a squeezer too. Maybe a couple of them even. I got some bronze made up. Let's make a couple of sturdy casings. And then we're going to need squeezer. Can't spell. What do we got? A tin. 1, let's make 2 of those. We will use them, so there's no worry about making extra here. For the fuel production, we're eventually going to want 2 or 3 of these guys breaking down the apples. At least 2, probably 2, I think. So let's go downstairs. So we're going to have a squeezer here that just does seed oil, just produces seed oil. Right? Oh, that was brilliant. Shift, okay, and then we're going to have a squeezer here that just produces honey drops, or just produces honey rather, that squeezes the honey drops. So we're going to want this ender fluid, this ender fluid conduit, like so, and we're going to want some power. Like so. That's the wrong... Well, we're going to want items too, so let's just run it out. Like so. That was kind of weird. And we'll run some power along there. This is the stuff that I normally don't do on camera, so maybe it's interesting for once, or maybe I don't do it on camera for a reason. Let me know what you think so that I can adjust accordingly. Now that is going to put all of the seed oil into this giant tank. Now we want to take it out of this tank, which comes here. Right? So now we have an in and an out, and we actually have more valves in the tank than we need. I'll probably steal one because that tank over there is just missing a valve and it'll be complete. And I've got plenty of extra tank walls because I thought you needed them to make the valves, but you don't. Yeah, I thought they were part of the crafting recipe for the other parts of the tanks, and they're not. Okay, so there's that, and then we're going to want to move our input downstairs. Now we got to be kind of considerate about how we do this. What are these again? Fermenters. We might want to just make some more of those too, because we're definitely going to want more later. Like I said, we'll probably want a dozen or 15, and we don't want to move them while they're full of stuff because that represents quite a bit of work that we would be basically throwing away. Fermenter. Lots of bronze gears. Okay. Let's just take this other half of a stack, make some bronze gears, and then already out of bronze again. Just eats it up. And then glass, I think, was the last. Yeah. 2. Only 2? Oh, guys, I'm dying here. Okay, well that's fine. We'll get the other ones moved. Hello. Flying is good. Now let's think about how we want to lay this out, just briefly. I'm thinking it doesn't really matter because we're getting our items in through a tesseract. So I'm thinking we'll put our input like right here so it can go up and into this, and we can have a little sorting barrel system over in this corner, and then we'll branch off this direction. And we want to put our fermenters up 1 block because we're going to want access to the bottoms of them. So let's go right there, I think. And we'll put our fermenters here. And we can get rid of that guy. And we're going to want some item ducts and some power. And these don't need fluid input, they just need fluid output. Nope, that's not true. They get fruit juice in. So we're going to need some fluid input, and we're going to want to put a squeezer somewhere nearby. So let's break this guy because I want a little bit of space. And we'll put a... Oh, I already put the squeezer up there, didn't I? That changes things a little bit. Oh, but that's not the squeezer we're going to use. let's take it for now, because we're not ready to set that up yet. Inventory full, as per usual. As per usual. Okay. Squeezer. Centrifuge, no. Oh, fermenter. Yes, this is why I don't do things on camera, because I actually am very inefficient with my time when it comes to setting these things up. I'm like around in a circle, and then I want to reconfigure things 14 times, and that apiary or alveary is totally going to be in the way, because we're going to want access to the tops of these machines as well. Dang, 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 dang. Okay. Think we got a wrench? No, we'll just use a pick. Pew, pew, pew. Dang, dang, dang. Again, like I said, this is why I don't do this on camera, because this is how it go. But on the other hand, sometimes it's good to see the way things go. And I think let's not put that, let's put it on this line right here. So 1, 2, 3, we'll put our squeezer right here. And our fermenters like so, and we'll just dig out underneath, because I don't want to be crowding the ceiling. And we may end up using Steve's Factory Manager for this later. I don't know how I'm feeling about Steve's Factory Manager. It's kind of hit and miss, sort of mixed feelings going on there, so we'll see how it go. Like so. And yeah, that'll take care of the fruit juice and into there, so that's good. And I think power we can put on top. And then we're going to need item ducts up here as well. And then I think right here we're going to put a garbage can for the mulch, because we're going to extract the mulch out of the bottom of this guy, and it's going to go into the bottom of these guys, because that's where it accepts the mulch from. And then any overflow, I don't want to have a void barrel, we're just going to go with a garbage can, trash can right here. So I think that's good there. And then I think we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 4 more. And we have the metal to make them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we'll bring it out to here. Item ducts and fluid conduit. Or not item duct, item conduit, fluid conduit. And we gotta have fluid conduits here and here to extract fuel. There we go. And then I think what we'll do is make like 3 rows of these, and that should bring us to about where we need to be fuel production wise. I think we'll see. We'll time it out, feel it out as we slowly and organically expand the system. Hello? Alright, there we go. So that's what that's going to look like, approximately. Now we need our tesseract. I think we can put that right here. So we need items in from the tesseract. No, I don't like that. We can put the tesseract up on the ceiling. So in order to do that, that means that we can have items. I think maybe we want to make this one long line. We'll put the tesseract up on the ceiling. Let's bring our barrels down. Holy crap, how has my inventory never got any room in it? You're kidding me. Most of this stuff we don't even need. Let's go up here real quick. Right, just drop those guys off. Make sure our centrifuge isn't jammed up. And that'll keep us going for a few minutes anyway. Tesseract. And we need a dolly. had to make a new bag of holding. A lot of my tools got destroyed. I accidentally was shift clicking a bunch of stuff into a trash can, and before I knew it, there went my bag of holding full of goodies, soulbound enchantment, and everything went bye-bye. So super lame. But on the whole, there wasn't anything super irreplaceable in there either. So that'll be good. And then we need a couple of barrels. We'll bring those down. Hopefully we can get this system all back and set up before we lose continuity. What just... What? Okay, that was weird. Weird little glitch. And then... yeah, I think we just put those there. Fly, Stan, fly. And we have to expand these barrels quite a bit actually to accommodate all the specialty produce that we're getting off of the bees, because right now it's just handling the most generic type of things. Okay, so I don't have my conduit probe anymore. That's one thing that's gone that I have yet to remake. So let's give this its own channel. Let's extract on, I guess brown's fine. Extract on brown. And then we're going to do an in-out, and we're going to insert on brown, and we're going to have a priority of 2. Insert on brown, priority of 2. That should do. I think those are both voided off, so that's all the excess farm produce taken care of. Now we want to change the extraction of this one from green to red. That'll be red for apples, and then we will insert on red. Okay, perfect, that's filling up. And then this will be the green channel, green for saplings. Extract. Insert on 5. And oops. Insert on 5. Right? Now, if we grab our Yeta wrench here, carpenter, we don't need that for the moment, and the centrifuge, we'll keep that handy, I think, because we'll be setting that up soonish. Okay, so now we're going to extract and extract, and then insert and insert. That's a shift left click for those people who don't remember, in order to access this without being able to click on the insert, without being able to click on the conduit connector directly. So that should, well, we don't have any power. Okay, we got saplings. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Let's get some power connected. There. Like so. And then if we tie in right there, that should get us power from upstairs. Yep. Very good, very good. So that's going to squeeze down. Let's watch and see if we get any mulch. There we go, and it is immediately extracted. Where did it go? Okay, it must have gotten, either there was a delay or it just got used immediately. Probably got used immediately. Yeah, that must be what happened. Okay, so that would be the second mulch to... Okay, now we need a trash can before we get too carried away and I forget. Fly. Fly, please. I don't even know if we have what it takes to make a trash can here, to be honest. Got stone bricks. We can turn those. Yeah, okay, we can get there. Boop, boop, boop. I had to make a new chisel. Having to make a new sleeping bag. Had to make new everythings. Turn that back into stone. I don't even have a knot silk touch pickaxe at this point, so gosh. Let's make an iron pick, I guess. Oh, no sticks. Okay, what am I doing? It goes like that. Yeah. And then an iron pick. It's a lot of work just to make a garbage can. And we got a chest there. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. Kind of ridiculous, but here we go. We're not at the tech base, so we don't have all the easy access to techie stuff like unlimited cobblestone. Probably a trash can in one of these chests. But oh well. And I don't believe I set the priority to those squeezers, but we can remedy that quite easily by setting this to a priority of -1, which is what I usually do with trash cans anyway. So now, as soon as these guys start overflowing, which they will immediately, we can see that the mulch will still get taken out of this guy and dealt with accordingly. Yep, gone. Very good. A little more advanced. The problem up above was that our setup was it's just too primitive and too cramped, and that was really it more than anything, is it's too cramped. So this squeezer is going to continue to squeeze, and these guys are continuing to provide fuel. I don't know that we care, honestly. Don't know if we care about the fuel that's in there. We can easily just remake it. So from here we need an output, and then we need to position our engines. I think this is all we need for barrels. I think we could just put our engines right here along the ceiling, and then that would get us everything we need. So we want to do extract, extract, just like that. And then I think if we get our hand truck out again, we can just move those engines down by hand, hopefully without causing them to cool down and having to go get more lava, because I think I'm pretty much out of lava. Let's take this with us too. If you guys can excuse me for just 1 second, I think I have an urgent bit of life business calling my attention. I'll be back momentarily. Alright, so that totally worked. It kept all of its settings. All we gotta do is ferry the rest of them down there real quick. Pick it up, break the lever, put that lever in a handy spot, and get them swapped out. And then a quick wrench turns it the correct way, and as you can see, it's still, even though there's no lava in it, it's still got all of its settings. It's still producing its perfect, lovely. I'll get those moved over off camera. I want to wrap this episode up, and that's kind of a slow process. Before we go, I wanted to look at this one tree. Remember, the chestnut sapling was there before. If we take a look at this, this was the best one. I used 4 grafters, so 20 saplings. Out of 20 saplings, the best thing I could get was faster, large, average. That's everything we wanted. We didn't get our 2x2. We've got average yield, which is fantastic. And unfortunately, this lower sappiness, but we'll be getting that out of the blue maho tree, so that's not really a big worry. And then you can see here we've got apples as a secondary trait, and out of 20 saplings, not one of them had apples as a primary trait, so I'm guessing that's a pretty hard one to overcome. And it doesn't seem like it's likely to happen in one generation. If you can't get it out of 20 saplings, then it probably ain't happening. So we're going to plant that there and cross it back with our apple oak trees and see what becomes of that business. And I think that's it for this episode, guys. I think we're making really good progress. I'm going to get some of this automation moved downstairs, get that finished up, see about maybe expanding it a little bit, scaling everything up just a little bit, and see what our capacity is looking like, see how much wood we're producing. I want to get rid of those high temp furnaces over there and start moving on to a little more efficient fuel production, because those things, frankly, are not that good. So I think what we'll do is get a Railcraft steam boiler set up, a solid fueled steam boiler that runs on charcoal, and see how much fuel we can generate that way. Until next time, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Have a nice day. Why isn't it? Okay. One more thing.